Hello, my name is Sin, and in this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Artisan Hien Soft XL. The Hien is a top tier pad that I had a weird relationship with. The more I used the pad, the more I found out that there's quite a bit of misconception in the community about the Hien, and I feel like some aspects of the pad are blown out of proportion. This is by no means a negative review. The only pad that could beat the Hien in my eyes is the Artisan Zero, which I'll be reviewing later this month as well, so if you're contemplating on which one to buy, make sure to watch it. Buying a Hien can be quite expensive for most people, as the pad clocks into around $60 with shipping, and many people outside of the US will have to pay a hefty customs fee to get a hold of their pads. I personally had to pay around $25 extra, so if you live in the EU, keep in mind that you might have to pay $20 to $25 extra for your pad. This means that buying a Hien can be a large leap for many, and I want you guys to be the most informed that you could possibly be so you don't regret your purchase. So first of all, let's start off with the surface. The surface of the Hien is very sandpaper-like. It is quite textured and it's definitely not for everyone. The surface is also quite abrasive, so if you have fragile skin, it will be sore after a couple hours of gaming due to the constant friction between the pad and your arm. The pad also feels quite rough on your mouse feet, and for the first week, when the pad is brand new, it is definitely scratchy. This was a big disappointment for me as I expected the pad to be perfect out of the box, but it required a 2 to 3 weeks of use to eventually break down the surface, where then it became smoother but also importantly slower. There's a misconception that the Hien can go back to the out of the box glide with a quick wash, but I did a bit of research and many people like me noted that the Hien changed quite a bit in the first month of use. However, unlike many pads, the Hien isn't coated and the loss of speed is more gradual compared to other pads like the GSR SE. So yes, the Hien does break down. In the first month, the Hien got noticeably smoother and around 5 to 10% slower in feel, and after 5 months of use, the Hien is now resting around 85% of its initial out of the box speed, which is after a wash, which feels very similar to the speed of my newer Zero. The Hien especially breaks down faster in the middle, the part that you use the most, so your Hien will feel inconsistent for a bit because the mid parts will be slower while the outer parts will be faster due to less use. The glide of the surface is very unique. It can be almost described as a hybrid pad due to it having the speed of a hard pad and the control of a cloth pad. However, it is fully cloth and the pear skein weave gives it a very unique glide. The static friction of the pad is almost non-existent, which means that micro-adjusting on this pad is a breeze. I would label this pad as a medium speed pad since it eventually gets slower, but it is quite a bit faster than its cloth counterparts. The combination of speed and control makes this pad a blast to use. I feel like I can swipe very easily and still stop on the targets. This makes the Hien optimal for tracking or high sensitivity games like Fortnite or Overwatch, where there's a lot of mouse movement. I do feel like the Zero is better for TAC FPS like CSGO or Valorant, since the stopping power of the Hien isn't the best, which means that you might not fully stop when you expect to, especially if you come from a slower pad. There is talk that the X and Y speeds of the pad is different, but I wouldn't say that this is noticeable on the soft and extra soft, and since I don't recommend getting a mid pad, I wouldn't say that this is an issue. Here's a quick glide test with the Hot ES and Core pads. So, as you can see, the glide is quite fast on the Hien. Now to the durability and the build quality of this pad. Like I've stated before, the Hien surface does degrade over time because while the quality is substantially higher, the Hien is still made out of cloth and it does break down. However, the artisan quality is still very impressive and unseen in the mousepad market. Pads tend to last longer than other mousepad brands, and the stitching on artisan pads are insane and are lower than the pad itself, which means that you don't feel them, and they give a nice round edge to the pad and stops it from fraying. After 4 months of use, my Hien has barely any stitching fraying, only a little on the side, but that's about expected. The Hien, like all other artisan pads, has a sticky base that grips to the surface. Over time, the grippiness of this base has slowly gotten worse. This might be due to dirt and grime buildup, but a quick remedy to the base not sticking is applying a little spray of water where you want the pad to stick to, and after that it should stick like super glue. The sponge of the pad is very consistent, and that is a huge plus since other pads tend to have air bubbles or such in the sponge, which causes the surface to feel inconsistent, while artisan surfaces feel very uniform and consistent. The Hien is also durable against humidity and temperature. However, another misconception is that they are completely durable against humidity, which is not the case. In high humidity, the surface and the glide tends to change from my experience. At around 90 to 95% humidity, which is the yearly average in Liverpool, the pad got muddier and stickier, which was definitely not pleasant, so I bought a dehumidifier which solved all my problems with humidity. If you also suffer from a lot of humidity, I would go for a dehumidifier because it is a solution to the problem rather than a remedy like the Hien would be. But compared to a GSR or a G640, the Hien is way more consistent in these climates, whereas the other pads would be near unusable. Now for the hardness of the Hien, I would just recommend going for the soft, which I have here. The X soft is the slowest of the bunch, with the soft being the medium speed, and the mid being the fastest but with the least control. The X soft would be too soft in my opinion, where you would just sink into the pad, especially if you monkey grip, and the Hien mid is set to have a different X and Y difference, and the extra speed that you trade for control is just not worth it. As for the size, the extra large Hien is 49 by 42 centimeters, the large is 42 by 33 centimeters. The large is a bit too small for me, so I always go for the extra large. Anything under large is guaranteed too small, and I do not recommend it. So overall, the Hien is an extremely solid pad, but it is sometimes overblown to be seen as invincible, and sadly this is not the case. The Artisan Hien is easily the second best mousepad, right under the Artisan Zero for me, and I can recommend it to anyone who wishes to try the Artisan experience and likes speed while keeping a bit of control. So thank you for watching my Artisan Hien review. If you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and see you in the next.